Hello and welcome to another episode of The Hollywood Knitter. My name is Allison and I'll be your host today. It is Saturday, November 4th, and I'm recording from my home in Los Angeles, California. And I hope everyone is well. We are now finally into November. I think we're into winter in a lot of places. I saw some snow in the Pacific Northwest, I think yesterday. We are entering sort of what constitutes our fall. Last week it was 105 degrees on this day, and today it's in about 70. So sunny, blue skies, beautiful day, but it's definitely starting to cool off, which is wonderful. It's making me have the urge to clean and purge and get everything ready. I'm gonna break out a heavier blanket for my bed, which is awesome. So that's what's sort of hitting me, though. Compared to the rest of the country, this would be considered like summer weather. I mean, it's really nice, but that's why I live in Southern California. Anyways, it's been about a month since I last talked to you. I've had a really, really busy October. I had three trips, and so I was gone or busy almost every weekend, which is a lot more than this introvert likes, but that just happened to be the way it went. It was still all wonderful. So I'm going to share some of my trips with you, my acquisitions, but first let's talk about whips. And I have only one to show you, and that is this little monkey. So the only whips I have, I actually had finished a baby hat and some little mitts for my friend Emily Ooh Fancy Pants, and this was supposed to also go with them, but I decided it was too weird looking. So I tried it. This is the little monkey crochet pattern, and it looks really cute online, and I think it actually would be cute. I think my color choices were unfortunate, but I wanted to use stash yarn. This is Dancing Dog Dye Works. Dia de los Muertos is the multicolor, and I forget what the blue is. The blue is actually Leading Men Fiber Arts. And I knit a giraffe for my niece last year, and I had leftovers, so I decided to use it. It's all held double, and I follow the directions, but softies for me are hit or miss. Like, they either look really cute or they don't. And I'm gonna say this is don't, and when they don't, they stay and live with me. So she didn't get the monkey, but she did get the hat and the little mitts, and it was just like a little aviator hat with ears, and unfortunately I forgot to take a picture of it before I gave it to her at Rhinebeck. But she says when the baby comes, I'll get a picture, so then I'll put a picture on my project page. But that's all I finished. So that kind of leads me into my whips, and then kind of where I'm going with my knitting for the next probably 2 months. Let's see. What shall I show you first? I'll show you my newest project, because something you haven't seen, which are a pair of socks, because of course when you travel you have a pair of socks. So I'm doing basically a Franken sock, where I'm taking two patterns and mashing them together to my needs because I'm the boss. This is the Nutkin pattern, and this was a sock that I did. It was a nitty pattern. I did my first Nutkins a long time ago, and those socks finally kind of have bit the dust, so I decided to use the pattern again since I liked it. Though I was going to replace it and make them short socks, and then I needed to keep going, so I don't think these are actually going to be for me. And then the yarn is Invictus Master of the Feet, which is a merino nylon blend, and the colorway is Knockers, I think 2015. This was the sample, or not the sample, this was the color for the retreat, and I picked up a skein. So the only thing that's different about this is I tried a new heel, and it's called the Keel heel, and it was just something that was at the top of Ravelry when I was looking for different heels. And it is a toe-up heel, which is what I use. And basically it kind of creates a bottom rib, turns, and then you can kind of see the heel pattern. It's hard in this pattern, but basically it's all ribbed, and then it comes into this spot. And yeah, this is like a horrible picture, but go look at it. It was someone I think someone designed it on the fly for, I think they said their father or something. And I thought it was actually kind of interesting. It was interesting construction. It's an interesting fit. On the body of the sock, I did the patterning all the way up the front, but in the back, I just did stockinette because I think this is a little tighter than I would like, which is why I think it's going to be for someone. It's a little tight for me. Not that much, but a little bit. So that was the first sock, and I am a little bit into the second sock. They're just kind of my purse knitting, so sometimes I get a lot of love, and then the weeks will go by and they'll get hardly any love. So we're in the hardly any love stage right now. And I have it in my Nomadic Yarns. This is my Halloween bag, which I love. Yeah. So that is what I worked on quite a bit. And then the other project I've worked on is my Kimba shawl by Amba O'Brien, using my yarns from that I picked up as where's Allison today? The yarns that I got for the goodie bag at Stockinette Zombie Retreat. That is what the yarns are. And they are from 716 Knit and 3 Irish Girls. So I am much closer to being done on this. It's kind of hard to see. So this is kind of purple as the top, and then it goes into a lace repeat with one color stripes, another lace repeat stripes. And so in the stripes part, you alternate the two colors, and then the lace portion is a solid color. So I'm really liking, I'm still not sure about the top color, but from here down, I think it looks awesome. And then I'm into the blue, and the only modification I did is these stripe section is only, I think, 6 stripes, and I wanted to use most of my yarn, so I made them more, kind of off the fly. But here's how much of the white I have left, and I think I need one more stripe, which I will get, and then here's my blue that I'm going to finish off. So I'm excited to be finished with this soon, and I'm really hoping that it blocks. I'm still not sure of the shape right now, but of course I have it on my needles, that it blocks and will kind of blend and look good. Not my color, so it'll probably be a gift, or go into the gift box. We shall see who it ends up with one day when it's finished. So those are the two projects I saw the most love. And I have a bunch of other projects that are just sort of lingering that I'm going to have to finish soon. So one of them is my Crytron, which I don't think I've worked on that much since I saw you guys laugh. This is the knitted citron, or not knitted, crocheted citron. Really small, but I think when I block it, it's gonna block. I'm gonna block pretty aggressively. I'm on almost the last color. I'm holding lace held double, so I have this much of the gray left, and then it's all gonna be black on the bottom, and then I'm gonna be done no matter what size it is. Just single crochet, and then you increase for a few rows, decrease. It's really simple, but it has been lingering for a long time. Then I also have to finish my Cracker Jack socks for the boyfriend. And these are the socks that followed the Dodgers, so you kind of did a color for each thing. These are the regular season that are all done, and then they went to postseason and sadly did not win the World Series, but came very close. So I'm going to incorporate that into the last few rows, so I need to figure out what I'm going to do. I'm still leaning towards purl stitches, or I don't know, maybe depending on how many rows I can spell out Dodgers and purl stitches or something if I go over if I chart it out. That might be an interesting idea. So that has to get finished. And then I know I have another project somewhere that's lingering. And then my blankets I haven't pulled out for a while. So I'm really feeling like I need to buckle down and not start anything new and get all this stuff off my needles and my hooks, because it's time. I kind of get this way, kind of like with my spring cleaning and my need to purge, organize, purge, kind of stuff started to clutter up, and I live with a person who loves to keep everything. So it's time to do some of that. And as such, I think I'm gonna just focus on finishing all these projects, and maybe the only thing I have left to do for this year that I wanted to do was some charity hats. So those will kind of be like palette cleansers if I need to do something else. Especially everything I have is lace or fingering right now, so that takes me longer. So I will throw in a worsted hat or something like that. And once I get everything off, I'm kind of have this goal for the new year, or before if I can, maybe by Christmas, get everything off my needles except the blankets, and then figure out what I want to cast on next, because I'm going to show you all of my new yarn acquisitions, which are awesome, and I want to start some of those projects, but I need to clean off what I'm doing. Oh, I have a hat somewhere. I don't know where my hat is. that's the last project. And I thought it was over here, but apparently not. So anyways, I'm also doing the consulate hat by Hunter Hammerson. And it's interesting. I wonder where it is because it was over here where I'm sitting. That was the last one I have. So the socks, the hat, the shawl, the 2 shawls, and then the socks, the Cracker Jack socks are my big projects. And then the 2 blankets that I need to pull out that I haven't pulled out in like 6 months. One's a worsted weight, one's a fingering weight. One's a worsted weight crocheted, one's a fingering weight linen stitch with all multi-yarn scraps, both of which are lovely, but they're not feeling any love. And now that the weather's getting cooler, I feel like giving them some love. So yeah, that's all my knitting. It feels like I've been steadily knitting, but not getting anywhere. Do you ever have the times like that where you're just going and going and going, but it doesn't feel like anything's getting done? That's where I'm at right now. But as such, I have been doing, as I said, a lot of traveling, knitting travels, and as such have some acquisitions to share. So going right into what I've been doing, in the first weekend of October, I went to the Lubiu Fall Fling in Colorado with my mom. As I said, they added kind of a sewing component because they also sell fabrics and things like that. Wasn't really as organized. I shouldn't say that. They didn't have as many people there for the sewing part as they did for the knitting part, but it was still fun. So my mom and I flew into Denver, rented a car, and then drove up to Loveland and checked in. And then I took one class. I took a class with JC Breyer on brioche, which I love. And that's one of the hats I think I want to do is a brioche. I'll show you with the yarn. And it was wonderful. She has this great new thing of doing charts where it's much more intuitive. It's not your kind of grid X, Y, X, Y, but it's the symbols and they kind of flow like your knitting does. So you can totally read your knitting. It's awesome. I wish I want to try to do more charts like that. It's just much better. I hope more designers start incorporating that way of doing charts. And next time I podcast, I'll show you some so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. I should have brought them down, but I didn't. And then, yeah, then there was just a lot of knitting and hanging out with my mom, which was fun. She had, I went to the Lubiu on Friday, and she had gone that morning. I went in the afternoon because I had a class. So she picked up some fabrics, and she had some great fabrics in her goodie bag. And then she had sewing demonstrations on Saturday where some of the projects that they'd given her, they did sewing demonstrations. And my mom was hardcore. Like, she brought her sewing machine in her suitcase, packed it all up, and got there, and then she did some sewing for me. So I'm going to show you what was in the goodie bag and some other things, and then my purchases at the Lubiu, which was a lot of fun. A lot of yarn. Beautiful. So our goodie bag for both of us came in this awesome Lubiu bag. Lubiu, which probably a lot of people who buy a lot of Lubiu have, but it has a zipper and it's just a canvas bag, and I just like it. I like having that it has a zipper so you can close things. In it, there was, for our yarn, they gave us a random kind of sampling of their solid series, their Lubiu solid series. So I have a red and a burgundy and a blue and a purple. Not sure what these are going to go with. It's interesting because the colors aren't exactly matching, but still very cool to have. And then there was a bunch of patterns. Excuse me, I got to reach out because I put them too far away. A whole bunch of patterns, like socks, shawls, wraps, some from Blue Sky, from Malabrigo, some socks, some stuff from Collage. So that was really nice, having a whole bunch of patterns to choose from. And then we got this really cool, which I know you can get on their website, Notions organizer, multiple Notions. I haven't put anything in it yet, but I will be using that one. And there was some luggage tags. We had a sample of City Petites, which is cute. It's actually a good 50 yards, so I will go into something. And yeah, there was a few other things. I don't know where they've gone. And then, as I said, my mom had brought some sewing because I had asked her for some more mug rugs. She made me some mug rugs for Christmas last year or the year before, and I've been using them a lot, but they're Christmas themed and I have them all year round. So I asked her to make me some new ones because I wanted to bring one to work and have some new coasters. So she made me actually more than I needed, so they might be a gift for someone too. But she made 2 kinds using this awesome Alice in Wonderland fabric. And it has like teacups on the front. And then this one, the same thing. It has like teacups on the back and then another kind of Alice in Wonderland fabric in dark blues. So she made me 4 of them while she was there. So I have those, which were wonderful. And then she just made me some little coasters with the fabric. So the fabric from Alice in Wonderland with teacups on the back. It's a really cool fabric line. For Christmas, I got her I forget, it's a sampler box that she gets every month that has different things, and I can't remember the company it's from, but it's an online fabric company that has a lot of great stuff, and so they send her different things, and one of the months they sent her like a sampling of this Alice in Wonderland fabric. It was like fat quarters or something. So she's had them. Alice in Wonderland is kind of my thing, so she's been waiting to use them for something for me. So that was kind of the goodie bag, what she made me. And then for door prizes, we were both in the running for door prizes. On Saturday night, they just pulled them from kind of a bingo card that you gotten people to sign up for different things. And my mom won twice. My mom, the sewer, won yarn twice. The first time she won this skein of lace weight from Ethereal Fibers, which she says is her colors. So that's awesome. So we quickly decided I'm going to make her a shawl someday. I did not say when, but I did go on Ravelry while I was there and she picked out a pattern. I think I'm going to do, it's a Joji Locatelli pattern that she wants. So it's, 875 yards of lace weight. So that will be awesome. And then she won, which is, I decided to keep, also from Ethereal Fibers, 2 skeins of this bulky weight. And I love it. I think it's great, great colorways. These are my colors, the reds and the greens and the grays. And it's called Joker's Mild, and it's her bulky 80% merino, 20% nylon. And it's 150 yards with these 2 skeins. I think I'm gonna do a hat. Doesn't it look like a hat? I think I'm gonna do a brioche hat. So she won that. And then on the last night, you had gotten tickets the whole way through. And last night they had the big prizes, and then you could put tickets in for the one you wanted to win. And they had probably about 12. Basically yarns packaged together in baskets. And then like there was a Swift, and then like a Lazy Kate and some other things. And I didn't win anything, but my mom won again. She won 3 times more yarn. So that night we happened to be sitting at a table with some people we hadn't talked to from before. They were from Albuquerque. And it just happened to be that what she won was like some classic elites. So there were 3 different kind of yarns in there, 3 bundles of different, and each one had like 3 or 4 skeins. And I basically looked at it and I said, you know what? None of them are my colors. Let's just give them to the people at the table, because there were 3 people at the table with us and there were 3 yarns. And she was like, well, I might use this one. It was like a classic elite that had the sparkle in it, not the I forget what they're called, the little sequins actually in the yarn. She's like, well, I might crochet. And my mom did crochet when I was a kid. And I said, Mom, when was the last time you crocheted? Be honest. And she looks at me and she's like, 20 years. You're not going to crochet that yarn, Mom. Don't take it home. You don't need it. Give it away. It's karma. You've won all of this yarn and you're not even a knitter. She's like, yeah, you're right. So we gave the yarn, the basket, and then the 3 people each took a different color, of the yarns that they wanted. So I said, it's all about karma. So, but yeah, she won 3 times. Like, it's feast or famine. It was crazy. Yeah, so then after the retreat ended on Sunday, but Monday was a holiday. So we stayed in Colorado and we drove up to Estes Park and we stayed at the Stanley Hotel, which is the hotel that inspired Stephen King to write It during a stay he had up there where him and his wife were all alone there. So that was awesome, mainly because, well, we drove in the mountains right there. So that was awesome. We did like a 2-hour drive up into the Rocky Mountains. And then when we came back and we had known this, it snowed overnight and we got about 6 inches up there. And before we went up there, my mom was like, maybe we shouldn't go, maybe we shouldn't. And I kind of looked and I'm like, the hotel's non-refundable. And then I'm like, this is Colorado. They'll know how to deal with snow. And more importantly, the few days before that, it was like in the 60s. I was like, this stuff is not going to stick, Mom. I mean, it's going to stick initially, but she was worried about the roads and driving to the airport on Monday. And she kept saying, you don't know how to drive in snow. And I'm like, I learned how to drive in snow. You're right. It's not something I do very often, but I'm still aware of the basics and how to drive in snow if it were required. So she finally was like, I was like, Mom, this is just part of the adventure. We're going. She was like, okay. So we drove up there. As I said, we drove around the mountains that day and we came in and we stayed in the lodge that night. And then it snowed overnight. We woke up and it was like a winter wonderland. It was beautiful. Snow air everywhere. It's clean. We got up early and we, because the snow didn't stop till about noonish. So like in the morning we got up and we did the first brush of the car and we'd stopped at Walmart on our way. So we gotten, cause the cars, rental cars usually when you're in snow will have ice scrapers and stuff like that. But because I don't think they anticipated the snow, the rental car didn't have that yet. So we went to Walmart and bought one for a few bucks. And yeah, so we brushed the car off and then walked around in the snow and took pictures and it was really pretty. That's the kind of snow I like. The first snowfall when it's just white and there's no dirt and it's clean and then I got to leave. So like it's the perfect snow for me. And so we drove back. We left around noon and we drove back to the airport, got there early, which my mom likes, I do not, but it was a lot of fun. She had a lot of fun in the weekend. She had fun, you know, kind of meeting new people and learning new techniques. She got new sewing and quilting techniques. So that was awesome. Totally worth it. Yeah, and I would go back. Then 2 weeks later was Rhinebeck. So I came home, had a few days, not enough at work. So behind at work because I took so much vacation time in October. And then I went to Rhinebeck. I flew out on Wednesday and then met Priscilla in Boston, picked up the rental car, and we drove to Woodstock where we got in a house. And then later that night, our friends got there at various times at dinner time and then super late for some people that were driving in. And then we just had a relaxing time. On Friday, we went into Woodstock for a little while, saw some friends, walked around, then we went to Needles Up, stopped in there and said hello to people we know. Well, I'll come back. I just realized I didn't show you my purchases from Loop U, but I will in a minute. So did Rhinebeck, Needles Up, stopped on Needles Untangled, and holy moly, that was crazy. We wanted to go because there were a lot of indie designers that I had like seen their stuff or whatever, but we get there and first of all, luckily we overshot the parking lot and parked kind of in a lot next door. Parking lot was crazy. You get in there and you can't even like breathe. There were such a press of people and I was just like, I can't shop here. I tried. I went in one booth, White Birch Fiber Arts, which I love their sock yarn. They have really cool self-striping out of Vermont, and I've been meaning to get a skein for a while, but I couldn't. And so I tried to go around. I had agreed only to stay for like a half hour because it was just too crazy. You couldn't get to the booths. You kind of had to fight your way, and it's too many people, and it was in too small a space. So it's awesome that so many people showed up. I mean, it was amazing, and I know some people did really well, but they need to have it in a bigger venue because the engineer in me, like the blocking of the exits, the amount of people in there, like it was a fire hazard. I know it was there were too many people in there. The way the booths were set up, they were blocking some of the exits, so you couldn't get enough people out of there. And in my mind, I just like, if something happens, So, but it was nice. We saw some people. You know, you say hi to people, you know, that's what Rhinebeck's all about. You see hi to knitters all the time. So I said hello to some people, and then we went back and then we knit and talked and chilled. And then on Saturday we went to Rhinebeck and spent pretty much all day there walking around, and it was sadly warm. it was in the 70s. So my beautiful sea salt sweater, what we decided, or what I decided to do, was like phase 1 and phase 2 of the day. So I wore it in the morning when it was still a little coolish, and then by noon went back to the car, dumped whatever purchases people had, and then stripped off because it was just too hot. Too hot. But I was really restrained at Rhinebeck. I only purchased at one booth. And partly that was because 2 weeks before I'd been at Loopy U, which I'll show you that in a minute. So the only purchase I made was from the Dragonfly. And I picked up 4 skeins. Isn't this pretty green? 4 skeins. This is her Dance Rustic Silk. And each one of these, it's 100% silk noil. It's 450 yards. And it's kind of, there was a sample knit up, and that's kind of what got to me. It's much lighter. It's like a linen blend, but it's silk, and but it softens like that, so it feels kind of crunchy-ish in the skein. But the final product washed was beautiful. And I'm going to make the Granito by Joji Locatelli out of this. And it's funny because my friend Stacy got the same yarn, and I think we're planning to do the same sweater. So we're going to be sweater sisters. And yeah, so set our quantity of fingering weight. And that's all I got at Rhinebeck. On Sunday, everybody kind of drove back. I drove back to my parents, and then I went to the football game, the Patriots game that night with my brother and sister, which was a lot of fun. And then on Monday, my niece, my nephew, and my mom and I drove down to the Cape, which had been years since I'd been down there. And we went to Hyannis and kind of walked around the beach, and it was a beautiful, beautiful day. Like, it was so warm and gorgeous. And then I flew back on Tuesday and had a few days, and then I had to go, or we went to a wedding this past weekend in San Diego. And then I had my birthday on Tuesday, and everyone's like, oh, what are you doing for birthday? But my birthday was on a Tuesday. I had taken the Monday off because the wedding was on Sunday. We drove back from San Diego. So I didn't take it off like I normally do. And I didn't have anything planned. I came home after work and I watched Halloween, which was just fine with me. I did get a lot of birthday wishes, so that's always heartwarming. People you don't talk to very often, text you, call you, that kind of stuff. So that was fun. For my birthday, I bought myself gifts, which I'll show you. So I have other miscellaneous acquisitions. First, I'm going to show you my Loopy U yarn. Okay, so the Loopy U is interesting. It's an online, mainly online. Well, Loopy U's been around since they were in St. Louis. It's an online retailer, but they also have a store you can visit. Now, the store is like on the second floor of like, not warehouse, but you wouldn't be able to find it unless you knew where you were going. But then they have like all of this yarn, and then they have a whole second half of fabric. My mom loved the fabric. She said it was gorgeous. And then the yarns, they specialize in a lot of indie dyers. And then they also have some other larger dyers like Cascade and their own series and things like that. So when you walk in there, you're overwhelmed. Like, I tried to kind of have an idea of stuff I wanted, but it was just like, I spent the first like 45 minutes just wandering back and forth, just sort of looking at colors and different dyers and trying to wrap my head around like what I wanted, and it took a while. So this is what I ended up getting. I got 3 kind of random skeins. I got Socks That Rock, Crackle Crackle Pop, because I like the color. And these probably will be some socks for me because I like the colors. I had a whole green theme going. Then I picked up Fresh from the Cauldron Nightcrawler colorway. This is I think it's a self-striping. At least I hope it is. If not, it's still cool colors. And I think these are going to be socks for JC. This one was just because it fell into my, it just fell in my hands. This is Dream in Color, the smushy. So it's 600 yards. This is a special Loopy U custom colorway. It's called Share Sunrise on Hubbard Lake, and it's 600 yards. So that's enough to do something. Then the last thing I got, which was the only one for the project that I've kind of been looking off and on, is I'm going to do Stephen West's Oculus shawl. And that is, if you haven't seen, it's kind of like a giant eyeball kind of shawl. So I got this to be the white part of the iris. So it's 2 Into the World, Always Greener, Resist Dye yarn. And then for the green, I got, well, I'm going to make mine with a green eye. I got Julie Spins, and it's a merino cashmere blend and pesto. So these two together, and then I have a black yarn that I'm going to use also. So I think that will be an awesome Oculus shawl. So those are the skeins I got at Loopy U. Now I have other yarn acquisitions. So a few months ago, spontaneously, and this is why I didn't have to buy one at Rhinebeck, I joined the Gail's Art Sock Blank Club for October, November, and December because I loved the blanks. So this is the first one. So October, obviously. Why are my pumpkins upside down? Is pumpkins, which I love pumpkins in green and orange. And then I also really love the November, which is kind of a white background with cardinal kind of imprints. And then the December one is just all sorts of great colors. So normally I get a sock blank from Gil at Rhinebeck, but since I am in the club, I resisted. I did not get one because I had one at home. So yeah, I love how sock blanks knit up with that kind of colorway. So I got that. Oh, I found my hat I was looking for earlier. Here's the consulate hat I'm doing by Hunter Hammerson, and this is Malabrito Dandelions. You can kind of see it's this really interesting stitch where you actually go down 5 stitches and pull up, and it creates these kind of waves. Now, what is happening is I thought this was going to be for me, but it's a little small, so I think I'm going to give it to my niece. I think the colors will be kind of for her. There's some pops of green and pinks and things like that. So that's on the needles. But back to my birthday. Spontaneously, because, well, I've been seeing these everywhere on Knitters, but finally found a color that came out, a custom color I wanted, and I have my first pair of Allbirds. I got them in the Koturi Moss, which is this great green. I actually got the men's size because I got a little bigger just because I wanted room. So I got men's 9. I'm a woman's 10 usually, but sometimes I get a little bigger because feet swell and things like that. So I haven't had a chance to wear them yet, but I'm really excited about them. My new kind of cash sneakers to wear around. Then the other thing I bought was Miss Babs online, actually. I did see her at Rhinebeck, but I had somebody message me about some yarn I had in my stash that they needed to finish a project. And it was Miss Babs. It was from the Miss Babs sweater I did, cardigan I did, and I had a full skein. And she was like, yeah, I just need a little for a baby sweater. And I said, well, I don't have any leftovers, but I'm more than willing to sell you my full skein for what I paid for it. And then I'll pay for shipping. And, you know, send it out. She's like, sure. So she sent PayPal me, and I said, she sent me a $25 gift card. She sent me a $25 gift card to Miss Babs. I was like, oh my gosh, knitters are so generous. So I was going to use it at Rhinebeck, but it's so crazy to get in the booth. So I came home, and a few days ago I went through and ended up picking Killington, one skein of Killington sport yarn, and this is the Andrometer colorway, 700 yards of 85% Polworth wool and 15% Tessa silk. And I'm not sure what it's going to be, but I'm really excited about it. So I sort of looked at this as another birthday purchase because it ended up with shipping only costing me $25. So can't beat that. I've been talking a while, and I think those are all of my purchases. I think I can now put all of them away, which is one reason I had to podcast today, because I keep all of it in a pile until I can share it. And now I can catalog it and put it up in the stash and help get organized. Well, I think that's it. So upcoming travels, I don't have any real trips planned. The only one I'm in for is next April for the Knockers Retreat. I did send in my registration for that. I might go to Stitches West. I'm still considering it. I didn't get a hotel when they went through, and now it's all sold out. But that's still a maybe. But other than that, I had been thinking about doing a trip with the family to Morocco in May. But my sister decided to upgrade and get a bigger and more expensive house. Her and my brother share a house. So they were all going to go with me. I'm thinking that that's not going to happen now. So I might actually skip a foreign trip this year. I have been traveling a lot. I did want to kind of buckle down and maybe stay closer to home for a while. So we shall see. I always kind of say this and then I get the travel bug. But at least for the winter, I don't foresee myself taking a lot of trips. I might see if I can get the boyfriend to go for a weekend, maybe to Palm Springs or something like that. Something just to get away for a little while. But I need to buckle down because work is really busy right now. As I said, all of these days off, I'm very behind in a lot of my paperwork that I need to get done. And there's just been a lot of issues, start of a job with construction and things like that. And I need to just get it handled. So that just takes time and being at work, sadly. So that's what I'm going to focus off through the holidays, I think. And as I said, I'm going to focus on getting everything off my needles, getting some charity hats knit, and then starting on my blankets, and then I think I'm going to line up some stuff for either Christmas or New Year's when I have some time off and like do a cast on party after I have everything clean. I'm going to do some reorganization. I'm going to basically do an inventory of my stash because the socks I'm doing, the Invictus yarn, it was in my yarn like it was in my stash, but it wasn't in my Ravelry stash. So that's now made me suspect that I need to go through and just do an inventory of everything I have and partials and things like that. So that's on my list to do. And yeah, I just feeling it. Just got to go through. I'm going to start doing some of that today. Not my Ravelry stash. That will probably wait till, I think I have a holiday next weekend, Veterans Day. Maybe that would be a good day. But it is time to do some freshening up and some cleaning. So I'm going to go do that with the rest of my Saturday. And then I have plans to have dinner with a friend tonight. So I hope this November is wonderful for everyone. I know it's fall for a lot of people, and I did miss not getting the taste of fall when I went to visit Rhinebeck, because that's usually my fall, and the leaves weren't very bright this year. There was a lot of green still, very, very unusual for that time of year. But yeah, so I'm hoping everyone is doing well. It was wonderful saying hello to everyone I saw at Rhinebeck. That was great. I didn't get to talk to, like you never do. You never get to really sit down and talk to people because it's such a kind of a quick event and you're walking around. But I loved being able to focus time with my house buddies, which I don't get to see them very often either. So that was wonderful. And that's kind of all I have. So you can find me as Allison1031 on Ravelry and Instagram. And there is a Ravelry group if you want to join, but I'm not very active. Just not. I should try to do some more giveaways or something. Maybe I will after my inventory of my stash. I'll have some skeins I need to find new homes for. But I hope everyone has a wonderful fall, wonderful holidays through November, because I probably won't podcast again until December. And hope everyone has a wonderful Thanksgiving, time off. Hope winter isn't hitting everyone too hard. And yeah. So that's a wrap, where fantasy meets fiber and dreams are knit. Bye, everybody.